Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and are you ready to learn PowerShell with fun? Ha, I can hear some yes. And yeah, let's get started. So as usual, introduction and what are there in my agenda. So we'll be starting with the fundamentals of PowerShell and slowly move towards to advanced ones. And in each of my chapters, I will be including some practice exercises that you have to definitely try to get better ahead of time. So, at the completion of this training or the series of sessions, you should have all the required knowledge on how to use PowerShell and write many useful scripts and finally feel proud about yourself. And the obvious tips, practice more and you will start loving it. Seriously, because I'm doing it. So these are all the chapters that I'm going to cover, and definitely not going to read them out for you. It will be boring, and that against the purpose. So you just pause the video and look out for these titles, and these are all first 12, and these are all the next part. And I don't think I'm gonna stop with the 25th chapter, but there could be more useful scripts that I'll be showing you guys. So chapter 1, welcome to PowerShell. So what is PowerShell and what can you do with it? Yeah, guys, FYI, this is going to be little bit theory sessions that you may like but you may not like, but you're gonna deal with it. So, Windows PowerShell is an object-based distributed automation engine or the scripting language, and yes, the command line shell from Microsoft. And it's been built into all the versions of Windows since Windows Server 2008. Long, way back. So, to manage your environments more effectively. And this first version of PowerShell was released in 2016. Oh shit, sorry, that's 2006. Yeah. So the father of PowerShell, that's gonna be Mr. Jeffrey Snower, and he's a distinguished engineer and the lead architect for the Windows Server division at Microsoft. And now in 2023, it's at version 7.x with too many features. And with PowerShell, you can go from 0 to 100 very quickly. I'm not sure if I can say very quickly there, but what I meant to say was you can use it with very simple commands, and you can still write up to hundreds of lines of big, massive scripts that can do almost everything for you in your field. So very important heads up. PowerShell can be an angel, and at the same time it can be a demon as well. And this is just a heads up because it can get you appreciations for for writing big scripts, automating many things, and saved a hell lot of manual hours. But if you made a mistake somewhere at some point and in the production, that too, it can bring you escalations as well. So be careful. Yeah, I cannot get the DOM's voice, but be careful once again. And how to check the PowerShell version that you have? So obvious, open PowerShell and type this variable called PS version table that comes with $, and hit enter, and this will give you the PowerShell versions. And basically it will be with 5.1. I mean, I hope everyone will be using at least Windows 10, so you will have this version. And in case you are in the latest version but you still have some legacy script that you were senior, almost super senior, created some PowerShell script in 2.0 when it was like long back. If you want to use it, you can still use it because it has backward compatibility. So you can run this command to making the PowerShell go back to version 2.0 to support your script. So moving on to the next script. Sorry, next slide. And life without PowerShell? Yeah, too many typings or too many things to do, or everything in manual mode. And life with PowerShell, sorry, I could have got some better, but anyway, that makes sense anyway. Yeah. So a simple example, the health check scripts that almost everyone will have in their environment, which will be having all your servers, and it will be sending out the email to few times a day saying, hey, these are all your servers, and these are all the status, these are all the important service that's are running or not running, and yeah, many things. So if you want to do everything in manual, it takes hell lot of time. But with PowerShell, everything can be scripted, and you can sit in a place peacefully. This question may not be asked by everyone, but still, you can ask, dude, I have been using command.
The native CMD that comes with all the Windows systems.
You may be using that for a long time, and you may got used to it. And you can say you cannot just forget those commands and switch to PowerShell with all new commands. How can I do it? So it is not like you are getting divorced with the usual command line and you're newly getting married to PowerShell, but you can use the same command line. The commands like ipconfig, host name. I mean, there could be many other the usual commands. Those things you can continue in PowerShell as well. I can just show you PowerShell ipconfig or just all host name and what else. That could be many things, but when I'm recording, I'm not trying to remember many commands now, but usual. So yeah, you can still use those commands in PowerShell as well, but hope you don't ask, hey man, I have batch scripts with too many lines in it, can I run those lines in the PowerShell? Maybe, or may not. And PowerShell will not support like everything that you've been using in the command line. So yeah, that's all about it. And this Cmdlet and naming convention. Cmdlet, is that Cmdlet? Nope, it's pronounced as commandlet. So why is it called that way? And this is not something I came up with, but it was something someone came up with sometime long back before. So this is what I got from the Google, because I have nowhere else to go, obviously. So a commandlet is a native PowerShell command line utility, and these exist only inside PowerShell and are written in a .NET framework language such as C#. The word commandlet is unique to PowerShell. And yeah, that's all. No more questions about why it is pronounced that way. And when it comes to naming convention, so commandlet starts with a usual verb followed by a dash and ends with singular noun, no spaces in between. So examples of verb, get, set, write, read, remove, etc. And examples of noun, the service, process, event log, broker application. I'm a Citrix guy, so I have to put it there as well. And broker desktop, etc. And examples of commandlet: get broker application, set service, get process, write output, read host, remove item, etc., etc., etc. So moving to the next slide. PowerShell Anatomy. Yeah, this is very basic and you must be aware of this. It starts with the commandlet, obviously, get hyphen event log. It followed by many parameters, and each parameters will have their parameter value. So parameter starts with a dash. I can get you this laser pointer. Nice. Okay. So parameter starts with a dash, this hyphen log name, and it will have space between this parameter and the parameter value, and then another space, and then there'll be another parameter name with the dash and space. And if you look at here, it has multiple values or the inputs. Some parameters will only allow only one value, and some parameters will allow more than one value, like multiple ones. And there are some other parameters called switch parameter. It does not require any value in it. So once again, parameter starts with a dash, no space between the dash and the parameter name, and space between commandlet and the parameter here, and space between parameter and the value, there is a space, and space between the value and the second parameter that starts with the dash. And none of them are case sensitive, but it's recommended to keep case sensitive for better readability. So that's all about it, and moving to the next slide. So PowerShell console and PowerShell ISE. So we have two things here, and this ISE, this is integrated scripting environment, and I'm just gonna show you guys the basic comparison between them. So this is the logo, obvious. This is the PowerShell, the command line logo, and this is the ISE logo. And this command line interface that is operated with the help of input commands, and this is a GUI, so it's a graphical user interface that is used to perform automated simple activities in GUI pan, such as create, modify, edit, and run commands and scripts. So no auto suggestion drop down, and here you just type and you will see the magic. What does it mean? I'll show you. So I have PowerShell here and PowerShell ISE, and so it's just the run command. So when I mentioned there is no automated thing, so I'll type get hyphen, and there is no automatically there is no pop-ups coming up. And when I go to the PowerShell here in the ISE, I type get hyphen, and see, you will get all the available commands, and you start typing something and you will get the required commandlet that you were looking for automatically. So it also gives you the basic the syntax that it comes with, so that's one thing. And difficult to create scripts, yeah, it's just normal command line here in the PowerShell, and here easier to create scripts, because this is the scripting pan where you can type n number of lines. So but in PowerShell, normal PowerShell, the CLI, there you cannot write scripts that easily. And fourth, copy pasting is as usual, as in the regular command. For example, I type get service and I copy it, and if I go to the normal one, so if I right click, I'll get it. Usual things, just like the normal command line interface. And here it's more easier, control C, control C, control V, control V, control V, here also control V. So this works easily, user friendly, as I have mentioned here. And another thing, I don't like this PowerShell, the normal the CLI window. And when it comes to ISE, I love it. So next slide. So these are all some of the keyboard shortcuts that you may have to go through and remember. It's important for you to know these things, because these are all the things that you will be using mostly. And in the run command, you can just type PowerShell to open PowerShell, and PowerShell _ ISE to open PowerShell ISE, and Control R in the ISE, that show or hide script pan, which is Control R, it's gone. Control R, it's back. And Control J, this is a very useful one. It shows all the snippets. Control J, there will be many things, advanced things that I'll be showing in the future. These are all some of the logics that we'll be using. And for example, if, let's take if. So you may not always remember proper format, but this Control J will help you with them. So for example, for each, it will get you the basic templates. You don't need to remember everything, but the Control J will help you getting it. And Control Space, show IntelliSense help. It not only for the PowerShell ISE, it is common for both of them. For example, I type get service and I may not know all the service names. I press Control Space and see, it says display all 296 possibilities. I go yes, and it will give you just everything. And let's say W search, and this parameter name that I may not know how many parameters name it comes with. So if I give Control Space, I'll get all the available parameters that you can go through here with Control Space, and enter, you will get it. So here, like that. And if I go to get service, and if I press Control Space, and I get everything here. So this is another useful thing. And Control T, open new PS session in the ISE. Control T. So for example, you are having a script that is running here in the PowerShell window 1, and it may take like 5 minutes. And besides, you have to run another script also, so you don't need to wait in PowerShell window 1 to get completed. So you can just press Control T, and here you can run any script and go Control T, Control T, Control T. So you have a number of sessions here that you can use simultaneously. And Control N is just a new tab. New tab is a new script. Control N, Control N, Control N. So new scripts. And Control W to close the tabs. Nope. Like that. And Control left arrow, move on one word left. For example, I type a big script like get scheduled job, and I mention name and maybe some other and some other. So you write a big script and you want to delete something, so you don't need to press and hold the left arrow or right arrow. You can press Control and left arrow, it goes through words, as like you are seeing here. So you don't need to press, but instead you can just Control and press to move left or right by passing one word at a time instead of one letter. And F5 is to run the whole script. If you have like 10 lines, you can press F5 to run the whole script, and F8 will just run a particular line. So for example, get service, spooler, get service, and AGT, and get service, something else. So if I run play, which is F5, if I press F5, I get the output for each one of them. And in case, I've written 3 lines, but I want to get the output for only the second line, and I can just click on the second line, and I can run this button, run selection, which is F8, and you get only for that. So the whole script F5, and just single line or the only the selection that goes with F8. And yeah, so that's all for today, and thank you so much for learning. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I wish you a great day. Take care. Bye until the next video.